One for two.
Wow. How you guys waiting for me? Okay, was this way? You know the go family.
I think we are talking about it.
That's really dear.
Yes, after anything, and you are here again, you have said, you have given me the cake.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
No, almost none of our if you go to big brother, I do not need to do this.
Just want things to get better. Okodu.
First,
I'm
someone
thinking about the government.
once you people talk.
What's the show? Like, no, that's like, I tell you, jump, yes, yes, what I say right now. Just yes, yes, I tell you, jump,
No, my dear, one on
ah, no, that's like,
Finally.
Odmo, she class like God.
Mommy, I said egg.
Where's your head? Where's my head? Wow, that was sort of. Where's my hand? Where's my shoulder?
You're not man.
Where's my knee?
Almost a
Where's my toes? Toes.
Okay.
Where's my breasts?
Yes. Fine.
Stop that nonsense. You say put on the egg, boy. Don't go sínú ìyẹ̀fun pẹ̀lú ẹbí iṣẹ́.
Hello, class. Good evening, class.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
How are you today?
Good evening, sir.
Very
Yeah.
well, thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. I hope you can see what I share on the screen.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Governor, are you here? Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi.
hello, Governor. Good evening, Governor. Please indicate the name of the lecturer so I can make him a
The name of the
co-host.
lecturer is
His name is
HP.
Kelvin, please.
The lecturer is
Hello,
HP
everyone.
on the
Okay,
system.
HP. Okay.
HP,
Okay.
yes.
HP.
I want
Okay.
everybody to mute his mic, please. Mute your mic, please. I hope you can see what I share on the screen.
Yes, you can see.
Outside Manchester United.
The governor, please indicate your this thing so that I can make you also a co-host. I want to hear.
Okay, ma'am.
I don't do class now.
I'm trying to download but my name is Onema. Root Onifade on the
Olufade.
Onifade, yes, Root.
That's what would change an incredible product. 24 hours earlier, Manchester City.
Can we start now?
I can't find you, Governor. I'm looking for you. I wish you can indicate Olufade.
Now, I don't know this reaction. It's showing clapping. So I'm trying to, okay, I'm raising my hand now.
Yes, I've seen you. Uh-uh.
Okay, ma'am.
8:30, they come start before 8:30.
Okay.
Let me continue.
Now, you always the year one thing. You always the year one thing.
Okay, so Governor, you can share for them on the
Yes, I'll
YouTube. Have
send
you
it to
sent
I've
the
it?
already
group.
shared the screen.
Yes, I'll send
Okay.
the. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. Take care.
I've already shared the screen. Can you see that I shared the screen?
Governor. Oh.
Good evening, everyone.
Try to on the question.
Can we start now?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're welcome once again. And the course still remain introductory macroeconomics. And we are on to study section 5 from our manual. We are on to study section 5. I was briefed that Dr. Ogunjobi taught you section 3 and 4, which I taught you 1 and 2 in my previous classes. Today, I want to talk about the study section 5, and the title is Monetary Policy and Fiscal Policy. I take it again, study section 5, Monetary Policy and Fiscal Policy, the title. Then what are the learning outcomes of the course, or the title? At the end, we should be able to define and explain monetary policy and fiscal policy. And we also be able to explain the role of Central Ministry of Finance and all. To start with the introduction. This study session deals with monetary policy and fiscal policy. Special roles of the central banks and the capital markets. Meaning of monetary policy, monetary policies and fiscal policy. Now I want to start from monetary policy, which is the first one. What is monetary policy? Or what do you understand by monetary policy? Please, if you have any question, just raise up your hand. By signify, I will call on your name and will address your question. What is monetary policy? Monetary policy is a policy of influencing economy.
This one not start.
Through changes in the banking system. Are you with me? Monetary policy is a policy of influencing the economy through changes in the banking system reserve that influences the money supplies and the credit availability in the economy. What do I mean by this? Where the central banks or the governments try to influence the economy through the changes of money in the banking system or the credit availability in the economy. As we proceed, I will try to explain for you to understand. Fiscal policy
Hello.
Yeah. Fiscal policy is also a policy that is in control by the government directly, while monetary policy is controlled by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Here we are talking about the fiscal policy, we are talking about the monetary policy. What we are saying here is that monetary policy is handled by central banks of the country, for example, Central Bank of Nigeria. While fiscal policy is controlled by the government of that particular country or government of, for example, government of Nigeria. What are now the objectives of the monetary policy? Before you implement any policy, there must be an objective you want to achieve. Before you carry out any policy, there must be an objective that must to achieve. So what are now the objectives of any monetary policy? The objective of any monetary policy are as follows. Number one, to achieve full employment. What do I mean by to achieve full employment? For example, let me give you a typical example. If government want to achieve full employment in the country, government will have to harness all the monetary policy instruments to make sure there is enough money in the circulation to encourage investment. By encouraging investment, it's going to affect production. By encouraging production, it's going to affect employment of people, of labor force in the production process. By doing that, the objective of full employment will be achieved. The second objective of monetary policy is to maintain minimum rate of inflation or to have price stability. In reality, there's almost always be inflation in the country, but the duty of monetary policy is to maintain minimum of that inflation rate or to have price stability. By the time you say you are trying to encourage minimum rate of inflation, you are trying to do what they call price, you are trying to make price to be stable. So there's a way CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, can apply monetary policy to maintain minimum rate of inflation or to have price stability. So that is why it is very, very important objective in any economy of a nation. The third one is what? To promote economic growth and development. To promote economic growth and development. To promote economic growth and development is also one of the monetary objectives. To promote economic growth and development. The objective of any economy is to promote economic growth and development. And how can they achieve this economic growth and development is by applying both monetary policy and fiscal policy to achieve the objectives. If they want to achieve economic growth, you and I know what it means. Economic growth implies the output, total output produced in the country that signifies economic growth, right? By doing that, by increasing in the production of goods and services in the country, will lead to an increase in GDP, which is tantamount to what? Which is in line with our GDP, which is in line with our what? Economic growth. If they want to achieve economic growth, what they need to do is to increase money in the circulation, money to go into the investment. People will be able to use that money that is in the circulation for investment purpose. Then will be able to borrow money, approach the CPS commercial banks to borrow money for investment. By increasing the investment, there's going to be an increase in production of goods and services. By increasing the production of goods and services, it's going to relate to promote economic growth and development. Also, another monetary policy objective is to maintain a balance of payment equilibrium. Balance of payment equilibrium. That means to balance between money received and money being paid outside for business. That means balance of payment equilibrium, that the total money receive equals total money being paid out, not to have deficit balance of payment or surplus balance of payment. And then another objective of monetary policy is to have equitable distribution of income and wealth. That means to everybody, both rich and poor, to close the gap between the rich people and the poor people. That is the essence of monetary policy objective. In addition to the core function of, now, what are now the objects of the CBN? What are now the function of the CBN? What are the function of the CBN? The function of the CBN are as follows. They are the one in charge to ensure monetary and fixed price stability, ensuring monetary and price stability, stability of money and price stability in the economy. They also issue legal tender currency in the country. CBN of Nigeria issue legal, they are the only authority that can issue legal tender currency in the country. They are the one in charge of stability of monetary policy in the circulation, and they are in charge of price stability. They also maintain external reserve to safeguard the international value of legal tender currency. They also promote a sound financial system in Nigeria by promotion of an efficient payment system, unlike the way the money is being transferred from one place to another. Circulation of money in the country, they are the one in charge of financial system in the efficient payment system. Also, they act as a banker to provide economic and financial advice to the federal government. They act as a banker to federal government. They also provide economic and financial advice to the federal government. In addition to this core function, CBN also has over the years performed some major developmental functions, focus on all the key sectors of the Nigerian economy, such as financial sector, agricultural sector, and industrial sector. They give subsidy and give loans to all those farmers, rural farmers, in order to increase production. And in some cases, they give tax reductions to some of the industrial sector in order to increase their production of goods and services in the circulation, in order to promote economic growth. And they also advise, or they advise financial sector or other commercial sector the way they create money and the way in terms of generation of funds in order to transfer or to borrow people investment, to borrow people money for investment purposes. Also, Central Bank of Nigeria can influence the amount of money in the economy and the activities of bankers. They also influence the amount of money in the economy and the activities of bankers. They are the one, they can advise banks not to create more money. They can advise banks to create more money. They can advise banks to reduce excess loan in the circulation, and so on and so forth. So they give advice to commercial banks. In order to facilitate the attainment of monetary policy and to support the economic policy of the federal government, there shall be a committee of the banks known as Monetary Policy Committee. In every year, there must be a monetary policy committee that would deliberate on what they wanted to do, what kind of objective they want to achieve in a year, And what are the policies they are going to put in place to achieve those objectives? All the objectives mentioned earlier on cannot be achieved in a year, but they have to be specific on a particular objective they want to achieve in a year. These are maybe in this year they want to achieve economic growth. All the monetary policy instruments we follow suit. We are face all they will just face the economic growth objectives. So who are going to be the committee? There must be a committee that will shadow the process, that will shadow the achievement of those objectives. And who are these monetary policy committee? Number one, the governor of the central banks shall be who shall be the chairman of the committee. Governor of the central bank, who shall be the chairman of the committee. Also, they also include the 4 deputy governor of the central banks. The 4 deputy governor of the central banks. We also include two members of the board of directors of the banks. 2 members of the board of directors of the banks. 4, 3 members appointed by the president of the nation. And the last one is 2 members appointed by the governor of the central bank. 2 members appointed by the governor of the central bank. If they want to achieve any monetary policy objectives, there must be a monetary policy instrument, or call them tools, to use to achieve any of the objectives. As I've said earlier on, there must be monetary policy instruments or tools that must use to achieve monetary policy objectives. Number one, legal reserve ratio. Legal reserve ratio. What do I mean by this? This is the amount of money that's been kept by commercial bank with Central Bank of Nigeria. Let me give you an example. Supposing your salary at the end of the month is 100,000, and you don't intend to save to spend any of the money out of that 100,000. You want to keep that 100,000, want to save it. You take the money to your bank. Are you following, please? Are you following, please? Hello? Hello? Are we together, please?
We are following you. I've muted everyone.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to explain legal reserve ratio. I said this is the amount of money that we kept.
Hello,
by
sir.
Into...
Hello?
Hello? I can hear you. I can hear you. You have any question?
Sir, we are following you. You are following you, sir.
We are following. Yes, sir. We can
We are
hear
following you, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So go ahead. We are following you.
Right on.
All right.
Right on, sir. Right on, right.
So,
I have a question. Sir.
Okay, what's the question, please?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. My name is Mr. Salahuddin Ismail. Why do we have 4 deputy governors in the central bank when we have 6 geographical zones in Nigeria?
Well, You know, in central bank, central bank is an autonomous on its own. So they have different branches. They have different departments, which they must have deputy governor of which department. So the name attached to central bank itself is the person that head the central bank. Instead of them calling them manager director, managing director, or executive director, the president name him as a governor. So it's an institution on its own that control the activities of other banks in the country. So they must have, based on different departments they have, all those departments must have deputy governor. They must head as they call as the deputy governor of that bank, of that section. So that's why we have 4 deputy governors, 2 members of, right? And 3 members appointed by the president, 2 members of the board of directors. You know, they have directors of the banks. 2 members of the appointed by the governor. I'm talking about the monetary policy objectives. To achieve any monetary policy objective in an economy, we must make use of the following instruments. And we normally call them monetary policy instruments or monetary policy tools. Number 1, legal reserve ratio. Legal reserve ratio, what it means is that I've given the amount of money that must be saved by commercial bank with Central Bank of Nigeria. Legal reserve ratio. So as I'm now giving you an example. For example, say you are earning 100,000, you don't plan to spend out of that 100,000. You just take the money straight to your bank. Bank has to obey the legal reserve ratio by keeping so amount, maybe 20% or 30% of your total money with CBN before they can now use the remaining one. Right? It is very, very important instrument that government use to achieve any of the monetary policy objectives. Interest rate is also it's also part of monetary policy instrument use. If government want to achieve economic growth, what you need to do is just by reduce interest rates. If you reduce interest rates, all the commercial banks will also reduce interest rates. All those investors will be able to approach commercial banks to borrow money. By borrowing money, they will be able to increase in production of goods and services. By doing that, economic growth will be achieved. The third one is open market operation. Open market operation is a market where government sells or buy its bonds or treasury bills. And this one is also meant to regulate the circulation, the excess money in the circulation. For example, if there is too much money in the circulation, government will not just do what? We just buy its treasury bill from the circulation, from the investors, or sell its treasury bill to the investors in order to retrieve excess money in the circulation. The fourth one is special deposits. Special deposits by instruction, giving commercial bank instruction to create a certain amount of money with them, with Central Bank of Nigeria. By doing that, they are trying to retrieve excess money in the circulation to be kept with Central Bank of Nigeria. Also, we have bank rates, which is also the same thing as what? Interest rates. Then the sixth instrument is selective credit control. Selective credit control. Central bank can use this credit by instructing commercial banks to give credit to a certain portion of the economy or a particular sector in order to increase production of goods and services. The seventh one is moral suasion. I believe you people have heard all these things before, but let me just reiterate it again. Moral suasion is by persuading the commercial bank to reduce excess creation of money, to reduce excess giving out too much loan in order to regulate or to control inflation. When commercial banks are giving too much loan, there will be excess money in the circulation. By doing that, it will lead to what? Inflation. For government to control that inflation or to maintain minimum rate of inflation, government can appeal to commercial banks to reduce excess loan given out to people, to investors. By doing that, it will reduce excess money in the circulation and the monetary policy objective of inflation will be achieved. Liquidity ratio. Apart from legal reserve ratio, that must be kept by commercial bank to CBN, there must be amount of money, certain percentage of money that must be remain with the commercial banks. Part of the amount that must remain with the commercial bank. Let me explain liquidity ratio. For example, legal reserve ratio is 20%. CBN can also instruct them that out of the remaining 80%, 30% of your money should remain with commercial bank. The remaining 50% is what commercial bank will now use to create more money. You know that commercial bank creates more money by giving out those money as a form of loan, and the return whoever they give the money in loan to will return the principal with interest. That's how the commercial bank creates money. And the next one is the sales of stabilization securities, treasury bills, bonds, and so on and so forth, in order to what? To stabilize the economic system. The tools of this monetary policy differs with the economic environment. That means we cannot apply using all the monetary policy instruments at the same time to achieve economic objectives. Because of what? What is happening in Nigeria may not be the same problem. They may not have the same problem in Ghana. Maybe in Nigeria it is an inflation problem. Maybe in Ghana it is the balance of payment equilibrium problem. Maybe in South Africa it is what? It's a promotion of economic growth they want to achieve. So by different objectives, we go by different economic environments. So the method of influencing the economy lies through monetary policy. The objective of tax policy differ from country to country, reflecting different in income structure and instructional development. Central bank also control the money supply through expansionary monetary policies and contractionary monetary policies, which is also known as restrictive monetary policy. Central banks control money supply of money through two ways: expansionary monetary policy and contractionary or restrictive monetary policy. What do we understand by expansionary monetary policy? This is the shift in the monetary policy design to stimulate employment. Expansionary monetary policy will be inflationary and will also increase aggregate demand. How do I mean? Say, for example, CBN want to achieve monetary policy of economic growth or full employment, right? If they want to achieve economic growth or full employment, They are going to put in place monetary policy instruments vis-a-vis interest rate, bank rate, legal reserve ratio. How are they going to do it? By reducing interest rates or bank rates. If they reduce interest rate or bank rate, that means this reduction in interest rate or bank rate will encourage investors to approach commercial banks to borrow money. By borrowing money, it's going to increase aggregate demand. By increasing aggregate demand, it's going to increase in consumption and investment, and which is going to generate employment. That monetary policy objective is being achieved by expansionary monetary policy. Also, by reducing legal reserve ratio, also, I told you that CBN can order commercial banks to increase their reserve ratio, and they can order them to reduce their reserve ratio. If they ask them to reduce legal reserve ratio to 10%, it's better for commercial banks. That means commercial banks will have more money to play around with, to create an investment, to give out as a loan for investors to borrow money in order to increase production. Right? All this one will lead to the growth of money supply in the circulation by reducing interest rates, by reducing bank rates, by reducing legal reserve ratio. It's going to create the growth, increase the growth of rate of money supply in the circulation. Then when there's increase in money supply in circulation, there's going to be an increase in aggregate demand. Increase in aggregate demand will also lead to what? Inflation problem, which is one problem solved, another problem arose. Expansion monetary policy also stimulates an economic in recession. They normally use expansion monetary policy during recession when they discover that there's economic is going down, economic is no more buoyant. Right? So economy can use expansionary monetary policy to revive back the economic situation towards full employment. Then if the economics has full employment, expansionary monetary policy will be what? Inflationary. That means too much money will not lead to what? Inflation. Too much money in the circulation after the objective of full employment has been achieved will not lead to what? Inflation. The second type of monetary policy is restrictive or contractionary monetary policy. This is a shift, just the other way around. This is a shift of monetary policy to reduce aggregate demand and place down pressure on the general price level. That is if government want to achieve level of price, money supply stability, or if the government want to achieve price stability, or if government want to achieve minimum low level of inflation rate. What government is going to do here is by increasing the level of what? Interest rates. If government increase interest rate or bank rate or legal reserve ratio, it will be difficult for investors to approach commercial banks to borrow money. Because when they are borrowing money, they will be borrowing money at a high rate of interest, which will lead to increase in cost of production. Also, when CBN increased the legal reserve ratio from 20% to 50%, that means commercial bank will have little amount of money in reserve to create more money, to give out as a loan. So that is the way, by doing that, the objective of price stability will be able to achieve, because it will now reduce the excess money in the circulation, and the inflation stability, price stability will be achieved. The next one we are going to talk about is money and capital market. Any questions so far so good about money policy? Any question? Are with you? Any question? Oh yeah. Ronald Peter, oh yeah, ask a question. Oh yeah. Any question? Oh yeah, talk. If you have question, talk, please. Luis. Raise your question and let us hear now. Hello, class. For those that raise their question, yeah, Sunday John, what's your question, please? Sunday John, what's your question? Temilola, what's your question? Teniola? Ronald Peter, ask your question, please. Parakat. Teniola, your question, please. Hello?
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is Teniola, Adelari Teniola. So my question is, can you please help us explain better the interest and the what was it called? This one. Sorry, I wrote it down. I'm trying to the other one that said bank rates and interest.
Bank
Can you
rate.
please clarify that more, sir? Yeah.
Bank rate and interest, they are just similar. What do I mean by they are similar? You know, it's just normally interest. When you borrow money from somebody, I say you are going to pay interest. When you borrow money from bank, for so amount of period, maybe you borrow 50,000, they say you are going to use to pay 53,000. Is interest rate. So if supposing the interest rate is now say, okay, you are borrowing 50,000, you are going to pay 25,000 naira, will you approach the bank to borrow the money? So also applicable to bank rate. Are you getting what I'm saying? It's also applicable to bank rate. Bank rate is also rate you pay on principal. Before you can borrow money from commercial bank, you know I told you commercial bank create money. And they have to use that money to create the money you save with them to create. So also when you save money in the bank and you leave the money there, they also add interest on your money. So part of the money they give out as a loan is what they get as an interest rate is what they add to your own money that you keep with bank for some months as an interest on your money. Did you understand now? Sunday John. Sunday John, ask your question. Ronald. Oh yeah, Oladele Magaji, ask your question, please. You are raising up your hand and I'm calling you. You don't answer me now. Favor. Favor, please. Ask your question, please. Ruth, please, unmute all those people that want to answer questions. They want to raise questions. They want to ask questions. No. Ruth. 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 You have many people that want to answer, they want to raise, they are raising up their hands here. Ruth. Ah. Ruth. Hello. Hello. Ruth. Hey. So I can unmute. Okay.
Hello, Sunday John.
Sunday John, yeah.
Yes, I just want to. My
now.
question is under this policy, there is a particular policy that the CBN introduced, I think, during Buhari regime.
Speak louder, please.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to know which policy does this Naira redesign, under Buhari's government, under which policy does that falls?
Now, let me explain to
when
you.
You are redesigning the legal tender in circulation.
That redesigning of legal tender, under theory, it is not there. But the essence of redesigning of legal tender is to reduce excess money in the circulation. Right? Is to reduce excess money in the circulation by changing the design of money. Old money will be have to do what? Will be pushed to the central banks in order to what? By allowing new money to come in. So they are going to monitor the new money currency that is coming into the circulation. That is not going to be in excess. Are you getting what I'm saying? The theoretically, the instrument that they use under the theory, the instrument that they use is what I just mentioned to you. Okay? Then I want to unmute.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Oh, yeah, Barakat, I can hear you now. Go ahead. Favor, yeah, go ahead. What is wrong with this thing now? Hello?
They can unmute themselves now. Because it's going on my head.
Hello, sir. I have questions, sir.
Let's hear you. Let's hear you, Favor.
Okay.
Guys,
Sir,
what I really want to know is that what I really want to ask is that this liquidity ratio and special deposit, please, what's the difference between them?
no.
Because I don't understand the two of them that much when you explained.
Special deposit.
Yes,
You
sir.
know what? So far that the CBN is controlling the commercial banks, right? They can
Yes, sir.
ask each commercial bank to have a special deposit with them. That's what they call special deposit. They can they can give instruction for all commercial banks to have special deposit with them with the CBN. In other words, in order to control the
Liquidity
excess money
ratio.
in circulation.
Is it like having a capital base with the commercial banks
Now, what
with
about the liquidity
the
ratio?
Central Bank of Nigeria, sir?
Liquidity ratio. Let me attend to you one after the other. Liquidity ratio is, I told you that there's a legal reserve ratio. That's the amount of money that they must keep in the commercial bank. So also part of your money must be remain with the commercial banks, your bank.
So I can't hear you. The line is breaking.
Hello? What I'm saying, liquidity ratio is the amount of money that the commercial bank must remain with them.
Hello, Ruth. Are you on the line? Please mute this in the class.
You go outside now.
Everybody is unmuted.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Peter Ronald.
Yeah. I don't know whose mic is that.
Yes,
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Please, Ruth. Mute all of us again. So you can just
Just continue your class. Mute us.
Please, I have questions. I haven't asked my questions.
I have not asked my question. I've been raising my hand. I've not asked my question. I've been raising my hand since. Hello, sir.
Ask the question, Peter.
Okay, sir, my question. When there's an interest rate, if the interest rate is high, does that better the inflation?
If you are not asking questions, mute your mic. If you are not answering any question, mute your mic.
I have a question here to ask.
Okay, so, sir. Hello, sir.
I can hear you now.
Okay, so during inflation, does the interest rate go up or it goes down?
You said what?
During inflation, does the interest rate go up or it goes down?
During the inflation.
When there's inflation, does the interest rate go up or it goes down?
Inflation. If there is an inflation, if there is inflation in the country,
yes.
to control inflation, you mean to control, or when the inflation is on.
To control it.
To control inflation, that means to reduce the interest rate to control inflation. The interest rate will have to go up.
It will go up.
Yeah, it will go up. That one will not discourage bankers to give out loans to investors, because if the commercial bank if the investor want to borrow money, affect the cost of production.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. My second question is about the legal reserve ratio. You said I don't know whose mic is just. You said for the legal reserve ratio that when there's a deposit, the commercial bank are supposed to give a CBN. You said 20 or 25% of the deposit. I cannot hear anything.
Now, listen to me. Listen to me. Everybody, so far you are not asking any questions.
I have a question. not been
Badamosi, mute your mic, please. Badamosi.
I don't know whose mic is that.
Badamosi, mute your mic.
Boss, hello, sir. You will all you need to mute everybody from your own end. Then, if you want to accept anybody to talk, you just unmute the person. If not, you're not enjoying the class again. Because some of these people don't even want to, they don't want to follow instructions. So you need to mute.
I've done that. Now, let me answer you quickly, Ronald, Peter. Legal reserve ratio is the amount of money that must be kept with central banks of Nigeria from the commercial banks. For example, and I gave you an example. Commercial banks are there to make money. They are there to generate money because they are a private business. Are you with me? So, and the CBN is there to control and to supervise all those commercial banks. By doing that, they can give them instruction to have a special deposit with them in order to stabilize the economy's excess money in the circulation. Apart from that, there is a law that they must keep out of your money that you save with commercial bank, they must keep certain percentage with CBN. That money is what they call legal reserve ratio. That money is what we call legal reserve ratio, right? That's what we call legal reserve ratio. So CBN can regulate and control, can increase or reduce this legal reserve ratio in order to checkmate the excess loan given out by commercial banks. In order to achieve the objective of any particular objective the CBN want to achieve in the economic activities. If government want to achieve economic employment, what you need to do is that to tell you that the economic is in recession. For it to achieve full employment and economic growth, there is need to supply more money into circulation. It's not going just to pump money into the circulation. We have to apply through monetary policy instrument by reducing legal reserve ratio. Maybe the legal reserve ratio was 25% of 25%. They can as well reduce it to what? To 10%. Right? So that means to say commercial bank will have 90% of your money for further investment. Are you getting what I'm saying? So that is all about ratio.
So, sir, one last thing, please, sir. So, this legal reserve ratio, I don't know if there was a time when Charles Soludo was CBN governor that there was a policy that Nigerian banks were supposed to raise 25 billion. This was many years ago. Is that the same thing? That some banks had to merge with other banks?
That is special deposit.
Okay, special deposit. Okay.
There is a way of more special deposit or by way of recapitalization of a commercial bank, and they are just giving out that money for investment. People are borrowing money, they are doing round tripping and so on and so forth, right? And it's affecting the economy in terms of inflation. Government can rearrange because it's the supervisory authority. It's the one that controlling both commercial bank and capital markets. It can control the commercial bank to recapitalize this thing by financial standard. They can recapitalize. So by increasing the minimum from 20 million to 200 million. If they don't want to do that, it's a way of telling them to come and keep a special deposit with them. That, okay, look, this is an instruction from central bank. Each commercial bank must keep so 100 billion with them with this so period and so period. Simple. Which they must comply with it because government doing that, CBN doing that, they want to achieve a particular objective. So, Maurice.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Question, please.
Hello, sir. I have a question, sir.
Okay. Luis,
evening,
go
sir.
ahead.
Okay. Sir, my question is that how does expansionary monetary policy affect inflation and unemployment, sir?
How does expansionary monetary policy affect
Affect
inflation?
inflation and unemployment.
If you really understand what they call trade-off, you will know that it will affect inflation. When the government is trying to achieve, when the CBN is trying to achieve objective of economic full employment, what are they going to do? They will reduce interest rate, they will reduce bank rate, they will reduce legal reserve ratio. This one will lead to increase in supply of money into the circulation. When there's an increased supply of money in the circulation, what does that imply? It will lead to what's the definition of inflation? Persistent rise in price of money in the circulation. Abi? So it will lead to inflation problem. So as they are trying to solve a particular problem, another problem will come up. So there must be a need of stabilizing monetary policy instrument that will balance the whole thing together. Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir. And also, sir, on the fiscal policy, sir. Sir, what are the potential risks of high government debt, sir?
I'm still coming to that. And you know
Okay,
that government can base its expenditure on deficit if they want to achieve a particular objective, they don't have money. Are you getting what I'm saying? But I'm coming to that.
Yeah, I'm getting it, sir.
Aliyu, Adejoke.
All right.
Sir, I don't have much question. I just want to ask you if you'll be able to share your slides.
I will share the screen now. I have no more questions, but I'm also.
Sir, please remove this guy now. Please remove him totally, please.
Ekene, what's your question, please?
Sir, please, can you enlighten more on selective credit control?
Selective credit control. You know, I told you that another additional core function of central banks is by going to the other sector, financial sector, agricultural sector, industrial sector, right? Central bank can give order to commercial bank to increase the loan given to some selective sector in order for those sectors to increase their production of goods and services. Are you guys ready? For example, we have agricultural scheme where commercial bank, central bank is giving mandate to commercial bank to increase the loan given to farmers in order to increase the production, local farmers, to be precise, in order to increase the production of agricultural output. That is what they call selective control.
Okay, sir, but this monetary policy, this selective control, does it help to increase inflation? Because the way you explained it, you said they help to increase the.
Does it help
if
to
a farmer should
reduce
at a high price?
Hello, I can't hear you. Does it help to increase or reduce inflation?
Yes, reduce inflation. Yes, sir.
Does it help to increase inflation or reduce inflation?
Yes, sir.
Either of the two. It depends on the objective the government wants to achieve. If government wants to achieve low inflation rate, automatically they will not make use of selective control. That the commercial bank should give a portion of loan to agricultural sector scheme, because excess money given to them can lead to inflation. Rather, they will rather subsidize agricultural sector or industrial sector. If they subsidize them by giving them tax relief, by giving them tax holiday, by providing them infrastructure that will improve the production of agricultural output, That one will also increase output economy, which will also develop, improve, promote economic growth. Yes, I've answered our question. Because of our time, let's continue.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Please, sir, I don't understand the expansionary monetary policy, sir.
You don't understand the expansionary monetary policy.
Please, can you enlighten us?
Expansionary, what they call expansionary? Expansionary, to expand something. That means there is no money in the recession. Expansionary monetary policy is from shifting of the economic base in terms of money supply to increase money supply in the circulation in order to stimulate employment and to increase aggregate demand. To increase the money supply in the circulation to stimulate full employment and aggregate demand in the circulation in the economy to promote economic growth. How do I mean by expansionary monetary policy? If government want to make use of expansionary monetary policy, they normally make use of expansionary monetary policy during recession, when the economy is going backward, when there's a business fluctuation in the economy, and the economy is in the down, in recession. You know what I mean by recession? Things are just going bad, right? Government can revive the economy back by increasing money into the circulation. Increasing money into the circulation will encourage investment. Investment will increase the production of goods and services. Then it will also generate employment and will lead to what? Economic growth. That is what they call expansionary monetary policy. And what are the instruments that they're going to use? They will reduce interest rates for investors to have access to borrow money from commercial banks. They will reduce bank rates for investors to have access funds to borrow money in the commercial banks. And they will also reduce legal reserve ratio for commercial banks to have excess money to borrow, to give out as a loan for investors. Did you understand now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So let's continue.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
I'm with you.
Please, I want you to help me to explain that restrictive monetary policy, sir.
Restrictive or contractionary monetary policy.
Yes,
that
sir.
Is, they normally use that one to achieve price stability or inflation. When there is a high inflation in the country, unlike what we are experiencing in the country, government is trying to apply restrictive or contractionary monetary policy to achieve minimum level of inflation rate. How are they going to do that? Is by increasing the interest rate, by increasing the bank rate, by also increasing legal reserve ratio. Legal reserve rate. When they increase all those things, it will reduce excess money that is going to be with commercial bank to use to create more money. Which by way the excess money will now be drawn to central bank, and by doing that, the level of inflation will be stabilized.
Okay, sir.
I think we need to move to.
All right, thank you, sir.
We want to talk about money market and capital market. Money market and capital market under financial market, right? Who can tell me other market we know? We have money market, we have capital market. What other market do you know? Can somebody tell me?
Labor market.
Labor market.
Commodity market.
Commodity market. We have commodity
Parallel
market.
market.
You said what?
Parallel market.
Parallel market. Where did you see parallel market?
Commodity market. Labor
Stop.
market.
Labor market. We have commodity market. We have commodity market. We have capital market.
Capital market.
Under financial market, we have two major markets, which are what? Money market and capital market. And these two major markets have their own different functions. Money market deal with short-term funds, while the capital market deal with long-term funds. You can see that we have some money that you can borrow within 2 to 3 years and you pay back. That is what they call short-term funds. While capital market are the long-term fund that you borrow for the 15 and above years, right? That's what they call long-term funds. By short-term fund, we mean that they are required for any period up to about 3 years. And the funds that are required for longer periods are also regarded as what? Long-term funds. What are the instruments used in the money market? What are the instruments used in the money market? Number one, they use treasury bills. Treasury bills normally is with CBN. If CBN want to borrow money for short-term funds, it will approach commercial bank or money market, where he present his treasury bill to investors, and investors will key into the money to the treasury bill and buy treasury bill, and they will receive the money in the circulation for further investment. There's another instrument that I use is called money funds. Call money funds. These call money funds are money that are with commercial banks or money that are with millionaires in the banks that they can call for it, and they have all these things they have to pay back in form of interest. Treasury reserve certificate. Treasury reserve certificate. This is the certificate given to investors before they give in their money. The treasury certificate is now serve as a collateral. Unlike when you get to insurance company, they give you insurance certificate on all the money. So by the time you pay all the due at the end of the sum assured, you present those certificates and they give you back all your money with interest. Commercial paper is another way of use, is another instrument used in the money market. Commercial paper are in form of what? LPO, in form of LPO that they can use to borrow money in the money market. Pension funds is also an instrument used in the money market for short period of time. Recently, we are told that government borrow money from our pension funds in the country. Also, banker acceptance. These are certificates that banker accepts before they can borrow you money. Once that one is an agreement between the borrower and the lender. And also we have what are known as bankers unit funds. Various institutions that serve as money market in Nigeria are what? Who are those people operating in the money market? Who are those institutions operating in the money market? Number one, we have CBN. You know, I told you CBN can approach money market, commercial banks, merchant banks, insurance company, discount houses, and other financial institutions. What are now the function of money market? What are the functions of money market? It allocates savings into investment and tends to obtain equilibrium between demand for money and supply of loanable funds, thereby promoting rational allocation resources. What do I mean? Now, you as a saver, you put your money into a bank to keep, or you want to invest your money, you go and keep your money in a bank, or vis-a-vis commercial bank. Investor will also come to that bank to borrow your money. So that means to say it brings both the lender and borrower together. Commercial money market bring into table both the lender and the borrower. Investor and borrower, that they want to borrow your money that you save, while the savers are what? Are lender. So it serves as intermediary between the lender and the borrower in order to promote rational allocation of resources. It brings those people that demand, that need money, and those people that want to supply that funds. That's what it means. 2, money market promotes liquidity and safety of financial assets, and thereby it encourages savings and investment. Money market promotes liquidity. It allows the liquidity to flow within the financial assets, and thereby encourage savings and investment. So it is in the money market that people that want to save money can go, and people that want to borrow money can go. The third one is money market can promote financial mobility by enabling the transfer of funds from one sector to other. That money, you can transfer, money market encourage transfer of funds from lender to borrower, from lender to the borrower. That is that about the money market. The second one is capital market under financial market. As I've said, capital market is a market for mobilizing long-term security. And this type of security are primarily divided into 2 types. We have debt and equity. Debt and equity. Debt are the form of fund you borrow for the longer period, 15, 20 years, that you are going to pay back at the end of that period. While equity is a form of share you invest into that company financial system and become a shareholder of that company. Debt instrument are financial claim with an obligation by the issuer to pay interest at the stated interval or to redeem the issue at a future date. Unlike when you say you want to borrow money, unlike people that want to borrow money, you take your LPO to commercial bank. You have a contract that want to construct road, and you don't have money to execute the contract. You take the LPO and give it to commercial banks to finance the business or the contract for you, which at the time you collect the money, you pay the interest and you pay the work at the future date. You redeem, pay interest at the future date. The type available on the Nigerian Stock Exchange are divided into 2 groups. Industrial loan. We have some people that obtain industrial loan, preference stocks and bonds, which are issued by companies, government parastatal, and state government. For example, Lagos State have issued their bonds before. State bonds, they use that one to borrow money from the Nigerian Stock Exchange market, which they are going to pay back with interest rates. That is the example of what we know as what? Debt. On the other hand, industrial loan, preference stock and corporate bond and bonds are corporate loan stock that are standard form for financing long-term capital requirements. If government want to borrow money to construct road or hospital, and they don't have money in their purse, they can approach banks to borrow them money, which they are going to pay back, but there must be their collateral in form of bonds that bind the both lender and the borrower together, which the money is going to be on long-term capital funds. The second type under capital markets is equity capitals. Equity capital refers to the capital of the owner of the firm. For example, ordinary share. For example, I want to float a company. For example, I want to float a company and I don't have money to float a company. What do I need to do? All I need to do is to print out, make an ordinary shares to the masses, to the public, for them to invest into that my company. So we become both of us will now become the proud owner of that company. That's what they call ordinary share. So that ordinary share, I present to the masses to invest in it. They will not be part owner of that company. The ordinary shareholders are entitled to any surplus of the income. That means to say at the end of every year, when we want to share the profit, everybody that bought into the shares will have their own share, their own surplus income as a profit at the end of the year. The Nigerian capital market is categorized into two: primary and secondary markets. Primary and secondary markets. Primary market is a market for assurance of new security. New firms that want to start business that they don't have money. So they are going to print out new security for them to generate their money. And this primary market is administered by the Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, and the apex regulatory body of the entire Nigeria capital market. On the other hand, secondary markets are the market for the sales and purchase of existing security. Secondary market is the market for the sales and purchase of existing security. What do I mean by? Let me give you a beautiful example. You know, recently, both Zenith Bank and GTB, they announced of their selling their existing shares to the public by approaching Nigeria Stock Exchange. That they want to, by selling their existing shares, that means they want to generate more funds to finance their business. So by doing that, they are not a new company, they already have shares. So but they can only sell part of their existing shares to the public, for public to participate in the shares.
And the purchase of existing security.
The market is organized and managed by Nigeria Stock Exchange, which bring orders of the existing quota security, which is to sell such security in contact with the individual and institutions who are interested to buy those security. The main representative on the capital market in Nigeria are CBN, commercial banks and merchant banks, development banks, insurance company, and stock broking firm. Any question on fiscal market, fiscal money market, and fiscal capital market?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So I have a question, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
So, sir, does the CBN bank serves as
money market and also capital market.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Come again.
Okay, I mean that does the CBN serve as both money and capital market?
CBN is autonomous bank that control the activities of both commercial bank vis-a-vis capital market and money market.
Okay, sir.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So they operate in those two markets.
Okay,
Any other
sir.
question?
Thank you, sir.
Sir, please.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm with you.
Sir, please, can you go back to capital market, the definition, sir?
I should go back to capital market.
Yes.
So what I say about the capital market, I say it's a market for mobilizing long-term security. And there are primarily two types. Two types of security primarily known as what debt and equity. Debt is in form of you present your LPO to borrow money for long-term basis. While equity is in form of having a partake in that company as a shareholder. Debt instruments are financial claim with an obligation by the insurance issuer to pay interest at stated interval and to redeem the issue at the future date. And I gave the example here, like Lagos State government, that they issue their bonds to borrow money from the masses, promising to pay the interest and the money they pay the interest and principal at the future date. Vis-a-vis it could be 15 years. Vis-a-vis it could be 10 years. It could be more than that. And the type available on the commercial banks are two groups: industrial loan, preference stocks, and bonds. Yes. Hello.
Okay, I want to ask, what are actually the security? Hello? Somebody is talking, please. Hello? What are actually the securities in the capital market? Is it the legal backing or what? What are they? I want to know what are those securities?
Security in place in the capital market. I've told you debt instruments and equity. Debt securities and equity. So I'm talking about debt.
Your voice is breaking, sir. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me again? Look at it under capital markets.
Yes, your voice was breaking. But I can hear
It's clear, sir. You can hear you clearly, sir.
Capital market is a market for mobility and securities. What are these securities? They are debt and equity. Debt and equity. Are you with me? And I said debt instruments are the financial claim with an obligation by the issuer to pay interest at stated interval and to redeem the issue at a future date. And I'm trying to give you an example of Lagos State that issue bonds to the masses. Bonds in form of debt instruments to the masses to generate funds which they promise to pay both principal and the interest at a future date. Are you getting what I'm saying? And I'll give you where they can get this is available is on what? Industrial loan, preference stocks, and bonds, which can be issued by companies, government, parastatal, and state governments. I say on the other hand, industrial loan and preference stocks and bonds are corporate loan stocks that are standard form for financing long-term capital projects. Unlike when Lagos State is trying to finance long-term capital projects and they don't have enough cash to finance long-term capital projects, they will approach Nigeria Stock Exchange through their bonds and stocks and preference stocks those bond and preference stocks will be issued out to the masses. All the masses will buy into it. So they'll be able to generate funds from the masses to finance the project. Are you getting what I'm saying? And which Lagos State promised to pay both principal and redeem the both principal and pay interest at the future date, which must be specified on the bond issue, on the bond paper. Right? Have I made myself clear? They are not saying equity capital refers to the capital of the owner of the firm. And I give you an example that, say, for example, I want to start a business on my own, and I don't have money to get all the equipment to start the business, to move the business running. All what I need to do to approach Nigeria Stock Exchange by selling my ordinary shares, not out of 100 ordinary shares, I can decide to sell 80% of ordinary shares, right, to the public to buy into the business, which invariably they will now become the proud owner of the company. So I will be the owner of the company, but they are also shareholder of the company. Unlike some of you that you have shares in some of the companies, you are shareholder of the company. And what is entitled to the owner is also entitled to you. Because you are going to share the credit at the end of the year, the profit earned by the company at the end of the year. And as going forward, I say in the Nigeria capital market, we have two markets, which is known as primary market
and secondary
market. Hello?
Hi, sir.
You have any question?
Yes, sir. I have a question, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Under the money market, sir.
Yes.
Yes, you said that if we deposit money into the bank as a lender or saver, so and another customer come to the bank and borrow that money,
yes,
the bank will be the intermediary in between both of us. At the end of the transaction, instead of interest to come back to the depositor account, they will start deducting the money, bank rate, these charges. They will make sure the money is going down. So what policy is that, sir?
Now, let me tell you one thing. That is why you see central bank is trying to regulate the activities of commercial banks. Let me explain that. I've told you earlier on that commercial banks are there to maximize profits. Because they are corporate organization. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
They are corporate organization, and they are there to make money, to put back the money, to put interest back to the money you save on one condition. They normally said if you withdraw 3 times in a month, you are not entitled to any interest rate. That is the rule.
But in those days, they normally put interest on the money saver.
On the money saver? Then,
yes.
Now, part of your money that we use to borrow investor outside,
yes.
Investor is going to pay interest on those money. And they are going to add, if you don't withdraw your money, part of the interest rate being paid by that investor will be added to your own money.
Okay.
That is what it means.
Okay. Okay, so
also,
understood, sir.
Don't forget that you also transfer business from one place to another. They also have to collect bank charges. There's what they call bank charges on a daily basis.
Okay, sir.
So if you have access to know what is in your account, you use ATM card to transfer business. Instead of you to go and queue and pay, you can just transfer for a particular business between a thinking of an hour. All those ones involve interest.
Okay.
All bank charges continuously.
Thank you.
All
right, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
so-called primary market is a market for assurance of new security. Because I want to have a new company. If I want to have a new company, I need to approach primary market of Nigeria Stock Exchange. They are the one that will help me to administer the company I want to establish by looking at the visibility of the company or the business I want to establish, by looking at the what is going to be the financial visibility, financial account of the year, and so on and so forth. So they are the one that will help me to sell the shares I want to sell, part of the shares I want to sell to the public, for me to generate funds to run the new company I'm trying to establish. Right? And I said the primary market is administered by the Security and Exchange Commission, which is the apex regulatory body of Nigeria capital market. Another one, the secondary market are the market for the sales and purchases of existing security. And I told you that, okay, look, for example, I have a share with GTB. I have a share with GTB. And I'm entitled to my share. They've already given me my portion of certificate. Are you with me? Then that certificate, I can decide to sell it. I can decide to sell half of it. I can decide to sell 20% of that certificate. That's what they call existing share certificate. So if I want to sell that, I will approach Nigeria Stock Exchange through stockbroking firm. They will help me to dematerialize the existing shares before I can sell. If I need some money, I will just approach my stockbroking firm to help me to sell part of my shares with GTB, with Zenith Bank, and so on, and with Honeywell, and so on and so forth. Where they sell that shares, they can only sell it at secondary market, because secondary market is meant for sales and purchases of existing securities. If all those companies also want to raise additional funds for their company to grow, they always approach secondary market by selling part of the reserve security they have with them to the masses. And this market is also organized and managed by Nigeria Stock Exchange, which brings the holder of existing quota security, which is to sell such security in contact with individual or institution who are interested in buying those securities. And I said the main representative of the capital market in Nigeria are CBN, commercial bank, merchant banks, development bank, insurance bank, stockbroking firm. That is that about capital market and money market. Let's quickly go to fiscal policy. Fiscal policy, I said, is in the control of government. So fiscal policy is reflected through government spending. Government spending is more or less government expenditure, taxation, and borrowing policy. So government can use fiscal policy instruments. What are the fiscal policy instruments that you are talking about? Expenditure, taxation, and borrowing policies. It is one of the vital tools to help to promote macroeconomic goals or objective of full employment, price stability, and rapid economic growth. Fiscal policy relates to government economic policy. I take it again. Fiscal policy relates to government economic policy, which relates to the raising of revenue through taxation and the means and deciding on the level and pattern of expenditure for the purpose of controlling and influencing economic activities for the attainment of some desired economic objectives. Right? There are two essential elements of fiscal for this purpose. We have the fiscal policy also refers to the manipulation of expenditure resources and taxation power by the government for the purpose of managing the economy. So government also can make use of fiscal policy instruments vis-a-vis borrowing policy, vis-a-vis taxation, vis-a-vis expenditure to regulate and manage the economy itself. How can they do this? How can they now use this instrument to manage the economy? They can use this element or this element in two ways. One, through discretionary fiscal policy. Discretionary two policies, that's the essential element of fiscal policy. Through discretionary fiscal policy. Two, through non-discretionary fiscal policy, which otherwise also known as automatic stabilizer. Known as automatic stabilizer. Hello?
Hey, God.
Any question?
Hello, sir. Thank you so much for today's lecture. We've already exhausted our time. This is 10 p.m. already. So I think we should just put an end to this class now and ask the necessary question we need to ask.
So let me finish the class and I'll soon finish now.
Sir, please write down. I beg. If you want to go, you go. I beg.
Why do you stop the lecturer?
Tomorrow, Nana, why?
Discretionary fiscal policy refers to deliberate use of fiscal action for achieving certain macroeconomic objectives, usually in time of recession or in time of inflation. We have what we know as expansionary fiscal policy. By applying for solving the problem of recession, and what are the things in order to apply by boosting aggregate demand. If you want to apply expansionary fiscal policy, that means you are trying to explain that government should increase money in the circulation. If government wants to increase money in circulation, it's going to increase its government spending and it's going to reduce taxes.
And taxes.
Right? It's going to increase budget deficit, increase government operating spending, and decrease taxation, or combining the two together. That's how the government to do what? To solve the problem of recession. Then solving the problem of inflation is by what? Contracting the effect of the economy by reducing the aggregate demand to reduce the pressure of general price level is by what? Reducing government spending and by increasing taxes. Non-discretionary fiscal policy or automatic stabilizer are another one done by the government to stabilize economy without any deliberate action. What are the automatic stabilizer used by the government? Is by what? Transfer payment. The government want to achieve any objective, they can use tax system, especially a progressive one, a progressive tax system. If vis-a-vis that pay as you earn, or they can give some of the industry a tax holiday. That's a compensation, unemployment compensation benefit. For those people that are yet to get job, government can decide to create an avenue to be compensating them in form of benefit. Transfer payment is by paying gratuity and pension for the old people by providing infrastructure, health facility in form of transfer payment. This one can also be automatic stabilizer to regulate or to stabilize economy as a whole. And also agricultural subsidy by giving fertilizer, giving soft loan for the farmer, and so on and so forth. And dividend policies. Fiscal policy equals to tax policies plus government spending with the intention to affect the economy, to promote growth and achieve low unemployment. Now we now have budget deficits and budget surplus. When we say balanced budget, when the government revenue through taxes, tariffs, and fees equals to government expenditure. That is when we have balanced budget. When government revenue equals to government expenditure. When we say balanced deficit, that's when government expenditure is greater than government total revenue. Then when we say budget surplus is when government revenue is greater than government spending. There's what they call passive budget deficit. Without any change in fiscal policy, deficit can reflect in the current state of the economy. Example, deficit increases during recession, right? Government can borrow money by increasing government expenditure. Also, they won't say active budget deficit. That is deliberate discretionary fiscal policy where policymakers plan with federal budget with the intention to spend more than they can plan to take in. That's when the government expenditure is greater than the tax, which leading to what? A deficit. Nigerian budget deficits are mostly from discretionary fiscal policy. And when we talk about a change in fiscal policy, we are referring to a change in discretionary fiscal policy that affect deficit or surplus. Budget influence aggregate demand in two ways. Budget influence affects aggregate demand in two ways. One, it affects government spending. Government spending affects goods and services, which later affect aggregate demand. Tax policy also affect aggregate demand. A tax increase or decrease affect disposable income, which also affect consumption level, which also affect our GDP.
Expansionary fiscal policy.
Expansionary fiscal policy increase government spending or reduce taxes, increase budget deficits. That's what we call expansionary fiscal policy. When government wants to achieve economic growth, what you need to do is to increase government spending by increasing the budget on a yearly basis, by reducing tax. When they reduce taxes, the money they reduce will encourage investors to increase more production of goods and services. Or when government increase in budget deficit. So this one will not be what? Government spending will not be greater than taxes.
6.
So the government can borrow money also from individual or businesses or foreigner in order to finance especially fiscal policies. So restrictive fiscal policy is when government try to raise its or cut its expenditure in order to achieve or running a smaller budget deficit. In order to achieve
so confirm visits a budget surplus.
Hello?
The network is breaking, sir.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. So I want you to enlighten us more about how to control the inflation of the country, because people, especially the laborers in the market, they are clamoring for increase in the salary. So if governments are not increasing their salary, they will call for strike day after day. But now they are emphasized on a price of a commodity in the market is exorbitant. So by increasing the price in the salary, are they going to control the inflation or affect the inflation?
Increasing the price, increasing salary or wages, that cannot solve the problem of inflation.
Wow.
What can solve the problem of inflation is by real wage rate.
Real wage
What
rate.
they are asking for, what they are asking for is nominal wage rate. Because of what, when we are talking about real wage rate, we've already deflated the nominal wage rate. And what can control inflation, to be precise, is when there is an increase in production of goods and services in the circulation.
Okay.
There is an increase in production of output. the price will fall down. When the price fall down, there won't be any more problem of inflation.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Hello,
Any
sir.
other question?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So you said when there is an increase in
Hello,
production.
go ahead.
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you.
So you said when there is an increase in
I can hear
production.
you.
Yes. So you said when there is an increase in production, inflation decreases, right?
Yes.
So it then means government has their own role to play, because when they give out money to people that owns a company in order for them to produce, then they are enhancing the reducing of inflation.
Products.
Can't hear you clearly there.
So let me come again. I said government have a role to play in reducing inflation, because if they give out money to share people that owns a firm, or those that does not have capital for production, it then means they can help in reducing inflation.
Giving out money in form of subsidy or in form of compensation benefits to those who that did not have money, or to the agricultural industrial loan, is for them to encourage them to increase production. For
Yes, sir.
example, I'm a farmer. Let me give you an example. I'm a farmer. And government now decide to call on farmer in our area that, look, we want you to increase your production of rice, beans, and garri, and cassava and yam. They now subsidize fertilizer. They provide me storage facility, and they give me a little subsidy for me to finance my production. By the time I increase, that one will lead to increase in the output of that goods. So that means that it's going to reduce instead of it to increase the price will fall. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
They're giving that money without any achieving objective can create inflation. That means it leads to excess money in the circulation without any directive. Any money given out by the government must have a direction, must specifically achieve a particular objective. Government don't just give money for fun. Though we have some people, because of corruption that is in the country, some people collect government money without doing anything. Are you getting what I'm saying? That is where we are now. We have some people that borrow money from commercial bank and they just lavish the money for party. That kind of money is what they call inflation. Because those money is not being used to produce goods and services for masses to consume.
Hello,
We
sir.
have two different approach of inflation. We have demand pull and we have cost push. There is one that caused by cost simplification, and we have the one that caused by demand pull. We are still coming to that in the next few classes.
Okay,
Hello,
thank
sir.
you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Christian Chukwuaji, sir.
Okay.
Please, sir, in layman terms, I want to understand the meaning between recession and the inflation. Recession and the inflation. Recession and the inflation. In a layman terms, sir, what is the meaning?
Deflation.
Recession and the inflection, not deflection, inflection and the recession.
Recession
is in a layman term, recession is when the economy is going down.
Recession.
When the economic growth is going down.
Of the country is going down.
It's going down in the way that nothing is working.
Okay, then inflation, sir. Yeah.
Inflation is persistent rise in price of goods and services. Continuous rise in price of goods and services. When there is increase in rise, that goods of a particular good you consume. Say, for example, the bag of rice that was being sold for 7,000 naira 3 years back is now 78,000 naira.
It's more than that in my area, sir. It's 85,000 naira, 90,000 naira.
Yeah. That is what we have type of inflation. We have galloping inflation, hyperinflation. Those are the example of hyperinflation or galloping inflation. It's just moving up.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Please, I have a question.
Yes, ask the question, please. Go ahead.
Concerning this monetary policy,
yes,
like the devaluation, before I wrote down now, so monetary policy is the policy influencing the economy through charges in the banking system. So now, due to the objective of this monetary policy, there is something I don't understand. Like it says to have equitable distribution of income and health. So, sir, can you just explain this for me? Sir, are you there?
I don't understand you what you are talking about. Say monetary policy. I said monetary policy is a policy of influencing the economy. These are the policy, you know, on the yearly basis. Even in your company, you have policy. Abi?
Yes.
Let us assume you are working in an organization. You must have a policy. And that policy must go around your company to achieve a particular objective.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
What I want to ask now is that under this objective of monetary policy to have equitable distribution, what does that equitable equitable mean in this explanation?
Equitable distribution of income and wealth. It's one of the objectives. That's what I said. It depends on the objective a country want to achieve, a nation want to achieve. It depends. If there's what they call welfare economics talks about equitable distribution of income and wealth among the citizens.
Okay,
hello, sir.
There's no discrimination between rich and poor.
Okay.
What you are entitled to is what the rich people also are entitled to.
That's what you are saying. Equal distribution.
Equal distribution of income. That income being generated in the country is being shared among the masses equally.
Okay, I've gotten that, sir.
Hello, sir.
I have a question.
Yes.
Please, sir. Please, I want to ask, what's your full name? And are you the only one taking this course, sir?
We are two taking the course. When I said it, the other person that is taking the course is Dr. Ogujobi, which he has taught you section 2 and section 3. Section 3 and 4, all right? I took you section 1 and 2 last class. It took you 2, 3, and 4, which I'm taking you 5, which is going to take you to section 6 next class.
All right, so what's your full name, sir?
Is that what?
Your name, sir.
My name is Dr. Awole.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
My question is,
who read this, sir?
My name is
Ask him personally now, please.
monetary policy. When a country or a nation represents a land, what benefit does the nation derive?
Can you hear you, please? Speak louder.
I said when a nation represents a currency, so like is being returned, what benefit does it nation achieve?
My brother, I hardly hear you, please. Please speak more louder.
I said when a nation redesign their currency, then just when Nigeria redesign their naira.
When they design their currency.
Yes, what benefit did they derive from this, sir?
We have a lot of benefits. You can see the
The
function of
benefit of
CBN.
designing monetary policy.
See the function of CBN to promote financial system. Number one, to maintain external reserve to safeguard the international value of legal tender currency. It will also, when we design our currency, it will also make our currency to have a value at the international level. That is the essence of creating, that's the essence of creating a legal tender, not just any currency anywhere.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Any other question? Please, I've sent the manual to you before, during the modules. Practice the objective question at the back of each section. Okay? Can
Okay,
you
sir.
practice the objective question at the back of the modules, each section?
Okay, sir.
Any other question?
There is one, sir. So I just want to ask, before we didn't pay for remittance in the bank, but now bank are charging for remittance. Why is it? It is what on that policy?
Remittance.
Yes, remittance.
Before commercial bank could charge you anything, there must be an order from CBN, because it's the CBN that supervise all those commercial banks.
Okay.
Are you getting what I'm saying? So they do all what you see that they are charging you. They are not just charging you without their permission from central bank. Because that's the way they also making their own money.
That's a stealing by trick now.
No.
Yes.
That is why, you know what? That is why our financial institution is not growing compared to the developed world. There are some charges that they don't do initially, which is affecting which make some of the commercial banks to collapse, to close down. You can count the number of commercial banks that have closed down from 1986 to date. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes.
Normal, but it should not be too much, it should not be excessive. Some of them are even going, but who are we to complain because of the nation that is corrupt? Any other question?
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Does it mean that even CBN generates money from all these charges getting from commercial banks?
Is that what?
Does it mean that CBN to generate funds from the charges commercial banks get from the customers?
Is that the CBN is generating from commercial bank?
From the charges the commercial banks are generating from customers?
No. CBN will just monitor and give them advice on how to what they should do, right? If they are going on excessive way, CBN will call them to order. Are you getting what I'm saying? What they are still charging you as a charge on your banking, savings, investment, transfer, and so on and so forth like that, to CBN is still normal, because they have to pay back interest on all the money that they also have in their custody.
Okay, sir.
So they are not paying any CBN, they don't pay CBN any charges on what they are doing at all.
Okay.
It's a way of banking creating more money, creation of money. Commercial bank creates money. When we get to that, I will explain how they create money.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other question? In the absence of none, I think we call it a day today.
Yes, sir.
So I have a question, Sunday John.
Is that?
Yes, sir.
John, I have a question.
Professor, I have a question. Professor, I have a question.
Go ahead now.
Your question, later.
Sunday John, I have a question,
How
sir.
does
the girl question? Oh God.
how does CBN
I have a
Sunday
question,
John,
sir.
I
Should
just
be
want to
of
ask a
us. What they
question.
ask
Sir,
question?
my
No,
question is
no, they
how
CBN
does
generate money from commercial bank?
Say what?
How does CBN generate money from commercial banks?
How does they generate money from commercial bank? They didn't generate money from commercial. All what they tell them, they issue them is that they must keep a legal tender currency. They must keep a legal reserve ratio with commercial CBN. They don't generate money from commercial bank. They also always as they advise CBN, they advise government. They also supervise commercial bank. They supervise the operation of commercial banks. But they are, in order to control the monetary policy and stability of the economy, they give them issue what they must follow, rule and regulation by legal reserve ratio, special deposit, bank liquidity ratio, and so on and so forth. If any commercial bank defaults in all these things, they will sanction them or they may even revoke their license. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we see you.
Thank you, sir.
Next class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We
No,
enjoy
now
you.
forget
God bless you.
question.
Thank you, sir. Oh,
Thank
láti
you very much,
Tatu.
sir. That's next time you look control. So you know,
We enjoy your lecture, sir.
Wow.
We appreciate the module, sir.
We enjoy your times.
If you have any question, ask. I can answer you. Sir, please, we appreciate the module.
Let's
So we can study on our
Thank you
own.
very much for having me.
I have
So good.
Which question? You no go rest.
See. Don't
Yes,
question
now.
like
What will they do now?
you know, I have
Lecturer is
not
frustrate the
entertaining
lecturer
any
is
other
enough.
person.
get out.
Go and rest.
All right,
This
okay.
don't go
Have
the lecturer's head now, please.
Go and
a
sleep.
lovely
You
weekend.
ask question
You people should go to bed.
Go
I
ahead
have
with
a
your question.
Present at 3 a.m. to prepare
Wherever
for.
you are,
Techno
keep it
KJ5.
nice.
So you did this. Your mind they make noise. Techno
I
KJ5.
have a question.
Hey,
Which
go ahead
question?
now.
That question not related to what the t-shirt again.
Sir,
Yes.
my question is, when will be
Who be this guy? Where no come on in face? Who be that? Who dey on
Techno
video? Say,
KJ5. Off your mic. Off your camera. Off your camera. We don't want to.
I don't even come out from here, sef. On a bye.
The issue of a microfinance bank in Nigeria. What policy does it
I
fall?
will send this one to you now. Your email now.
Microfinance bank. Money bank, you pay, bills,
Yeah, I will just send
pay.
all this. I hope they taught you
Funny people.
please, sir? Is there any way we can reach you privately?
You don't go. You don't go. More than rest. You don't go.
Hello, sir.
Honestly, we need to scrape some banks in Nigeria. We need to scrape some banks in Nigeria.
That one no concern us. That one no
You
concern
just
us.
get
What the concern
200
with the bank?
naira
We
from
want
my
to-
account
Charges.
That one are your problem. Which one be banks? That one are-
They are affecting my savings
I was
now.
like, hey, I'm going to the bank.
They are affecting my savings in the bank.
Question. Did they know how you take me to save money?
Money have been deducted from the bank now.
Increase salary.
Go and rest.
Yes, sir.